Thank you very much, Mr. Dewald, and it's now my pleasure to give the floor to Domagoj Margetić, an investigative journalist from Croatia who's going to be talking about money laundering and tax evasion. You also have 15 minutes, please, sir.
Gentlemen, members of the European Parliament, experts, guests. As you can see, my task today is to present you with data about money laundering and tax evasion in Croatia as exceeding country on the case study Organized Crime and Money Laundering in HYPO Alpe Adria Bank and HYPO Group Alpe Adria, not only in Croatia but also in Austria and Balkans. What were actually the first informations for me as investigative journalist to start investigating what later became the HYPO scandal, one of the largest banking scandals and money laundering scandals in Europe after the Second World War. At the time HYPO operations in Croatia started, mother bank, founder bank, HYPO Alpe Adria Bank Klagenfurt, had financial capital of 244,550,000 Croatian kunas. At the same time, HYPO Klagenfurt, as mother bank, founded its subsidiary in Croatia, HYPO Alpe Adria Bank Zagreb, with a capital of 1,581,991,000 Croatian kunas. HYPO Klagenfurt at the same time also bought another Croatian subsidiary called Slavonska Banka Osijek with a basic capital of 998,700,013 kunas. So, for me as investigative journalist, the main question was, where did the difference in this capital came from? Obviously, it was not legal. And just to say to you, mother bank, HYPO Alpe Adria Klagenfurt, was 100% owner of its Croatian subsidiaries, also other subsidiaries in Balkans. So where did the money come from? At that time, HYPO Group invested in Balkans 47.7 billions of euros in credit investments. So it was obviously not clear and legal deal. When I started to follow this trace of information, I discovered something what's called secret HYPO file in the Ministry of Finance of Republic of Croatia. Foreign currency inspectors in Croatia made an investigation in HYPO Alpe Adria Group in Croatia and Austria during the 1999 up to 2001, when they actually discovered that most of money laundering operations in HYPO Group Alpe Adria were, let's say, politically sponsored by high governmental officials in Croatia. Of course, this investigation was stopped. Two of the inspectors which ran this investigation in Ministry of Finance of Croatia were fired just because they said that they have legal ground to continue investigation and they don't want to listen to political order from the minister to stop this investigation. They said clearly it is money laundering operations in HYPO Group Alpe Adria. This money basically came from the governmental sources and it's stolen from basically Croatian citizens from the state budget of Croatia. So where did the money come from? In my 14 years long investigation of HYPO scandal, I discovered that money came from the Croatian government sources, public sources, and from the two sides, public funds and so-called black funds, secret funds. What were the public funds where the money came from? It was privatization. So all the money which should have come from the privatization process during the 90s in Croatia to state budget actually didn't finish on state budget accounts. It was transferred immediately to secret accounts abroad, controlled by the government, controlled by the ruling party leaders, but basically these secret accounts were named on physical persons which were so-called commissionaries named by the high government officials in Croatia. Then we had retirement fund which was robbed during the 90s, and all the money from the retirement fund went to secret accounts controlled by HYPO Alpe Adria Group. Afterwards, state was in debt to retirees in Croatia because they couldn't pay them retirements because retirement funds were robbed. Then we had Defense and Development Fund. This was actually a network of secret accounts abroad, mostly in Austria, which were held by governmental officials, and the money at these accounts were actually paid from Croatian immigrants in Europe, Australia, United States. They donated their sources to Croatia for development and defense during the 90s, but this money was actually misused. It was transferred to secret accounts, mostly in Austria, first in Erste Bank and some other banks in Villach, and at the end, this money was transferred at secret accounts in HYPO Group Alpe Adria, based in Klagenfurt. Then we had all old foreign currency savings of the citizens. At the beginning of the 90s, all old foreign currency savings of Croatian citizens just disappeared. The explanation from official Zagreb was that this money was taken to Belgrade, and then federal government didn't want to return this money to Croatia. It was a lie, actually. In my 14 years journalistic investigation, I discovered that most of this money from these citizens' accounts was transferred to foreign accounts abroad. At the end, it also finished at HYPO Alpe Adria Group in Klagenfurt. Then we had public companies. These were state-owned companies, which actually were used as secret bank accounts of the government officials and ruling party officials. They just took the money from the public companies whenever they wanted and transferred literally billions of kunas from public companies during the years to secret accounts abroad, and then controlled it as, let's say, black accounts network. Then we had privatization of housing fund. It was privatization of state-owned flats. People were allowed to buy off these housing units during the 90s. This money also should have been transferred to state budget. At the end, it finished at secret accounts abroad. Privatization and sanation of banks. Most of the money from the privatization process of Croatian banks finished also at these secret accounts. Of course, it was also the state budget money from taxes from the citizens, which was taken first to the secret accounts in Croatian banks, especially in Privredna Banka Zagreb and Zagrebačka Banka Zagreb, and then from these banks it was transferred to HYPO Group Alpe Adria, to secret accounts held by governmental officials. Also, there was money for Croatians in Bosnia and Herzegovina, which was actually said that we are paying to help Croatian people in Bosnia and Herzegovina. This money was mostly stolen. It finished at secret accounts. Some of you probably knows for Hercegovačka Banka scandal when it was discovered by the international community. On the other hand, we had black funds, secret funds, which was actually the money from criminal activities controlled by the government, in which the government was involved. This was arms smuggling, oil smuggling, cigarette smuggling, drugs smuggling, garbage and toxic waste smuggling. This was actually, here they had billions of euros transferred to secret accounts in corrupted relation between the government and organized crime chiefs and mafia bosses in Croatia. We have Petrac case as an example, Zagorec case as another example earlier at the latest. Here you can see also the network of the banks which were involved in these money laundering operations, not only in Croatia but in Balkans. What was especially interesting During the 90s, you all know we had war in Balkans, but at the same time, while people were killing each other, destroying their homes to each other, both Tudjman and Milosevic had joint bank investments in Europe. Let's mention some of the examples. It was Bank Franco-Yugoslav in Paris, Anglo-Yugoslav Bank Limited in London. They jointly hold these banks as co-owners and transferred the dirty money stolen from their countries to the secret accounts at these banks. And at the end, at the midst of 90s, when Hague Tribunal started their investigation, this money from these banks was also transferred to HYPO Alpe Adria Group to cover it up and to money launder it through credit operations. How they did it? They controlled, as I said at the beginning, network of commissionaries, party commissionaries, state officials, bank commissionaries, criminal underground commissionaries connected to the government, and business commissionaries. Practically everybody who had serious business in Croatia, everybody who was president of some major bank in Croatia, and every serious criminal in Croatia was connected to these money laundering operations by the government. Here you can see just some of the names of party commissioners. Ivo Sanader, as former prime minister, now convicted for organized crime and corruption, and some other people mentioned here, state officials, bank commissioners. Practically all the managers of major banks in Croatia were involved in these money laundering operations. And here you can see also that all serious criminal underground bosses were actually acting as commissionaries for money laundering operations for the government, for the political elite in Croatia. Business commissionaries also. There is no business leader on this list who is not involved in some kind of criminal activities, either cigarette smuggling, privatization criminal, or war profiteering, or oil smuggling and something, things like that. So basically what happened, state relocated, with the help of organized crime, state relocated these sources to secret accounts controlled by commissionaries, and then money laundered it through credit investments operations, which were actually from the HYPO Alpe Adria Group invested to Croatia, mostly to building projects, but also some financial investments projects, privatization projects, tourist projects, and so on. How they money laundered this money? By syndicated credits from HYPO Klagenfurt. These were specially designed money laundering operations. Later, if you will be interested, I can give you all the documents if you need. By means of credit, long-term credit deposits approved from the parent bank to its subsidiaries in Croatia, investments into additional capital of HYPO subsidiaries in Croatia, secret foreign currency accounts at foreign banks, mostly in the European Union, investments in real estates, tourism, building companies, stocks and bonds of major companies in Croatia. Practically every transitional tycoon in Croatia is connected to HYPO Alpe Adria money laundering scandal and practically became transitional tycoon with this dirty money. Secret foundations and offshore accounts in Liechtenstein. I published all the documents about secret foundations in Liechtenstein. There were 55 secret foundations in Liechtenstein for money laundering operations. So basically, the government in Croatia during the 90s organized illegal money allocation from state budget and black funds controlled by the government to secret accounts abroad. At the mid of 90s, mostly from 95 to 99, these financial resources were allocated to secret accounts at HYPO Alpe Adria Group in Klagenfurt. From 95 to 2007, HYPO Group Alpe Adria became the main financial institution for money laundering operations to make this dirty money legal. HYPO Group was also at one point one of the major partners, banking partners of Croatian government. Most of influential government officials in Croatia were corrupted by HYPO Group Alpe Adria One of the cases is a case of former Prime Minister Ivo Sanader, who is convicted for corruption. Government openly participated in money laundering operations, and these are basically the documents I can present each of you, dear members of Parliament, if you want it. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Grazie a lei per questa